The best one, and this is a long time ago, we were at a tournament. We were at Clever Luciano's tournament in Huntington Beach. And who was there? This is Luke was a white or a blue belt. Mikio was a blue belt. BJ was a blue belt. Camarillo was there too, I think. And we all decided after the tournament we were going to go out. So we went to a strip club.
Nice.
But it was a nice strip club. It had a pool table too, so we were just playing pool and hanging out. And these guys, like, we were walking out or they were walking in and bumped into BJ, and they were like, "Hey, fuck you." And BJ was a little guy back then. Was like, "Hey, fuck you." And they're like, "Fuck you. Now then we're going to fight." And we're like, no, okay, then we're going to fight. So we're shit-faced. And this is when Luke had his white Volkswagen Passat or something like that. And it's out in the parking lot. And we're like, all right, let's go over here. And these guys were big. And so we make a circle, and we're like, it's only one-on-one, it's one-on-one. Oh, yeah, and Big Rob and Kathy were there, too. And then, it's in the middle of the night. I got flip-flops and board shorts on. We're all just chilling, drinking and watching chicks strip and playing pool. The good things in life. And then what happens? We go out there. The fight goes off. What happens? Boom. Takedown, gets the back, starts choking the guy. BJ's on the guy's back choking him. One of the friends starts to reach for BJ, and I, boom, sucked him in his head. And then all of a sudden it went crazy, because then it went into a gang fight, our gang versus them. The last I remember is Mickey was on the car throwing axe kicks down at whoever went by. Luke was over there, BJ's over here. Big Rob wrapped up some fool and choked him, and then it was very quickly. We didn't get punched, but as soon as we stopped, it looked like a sleep bomb had gone off. Because there was some like 12 to 15 unconscious guys in the parking lot, and then all you hear in the distance is, "Woo!" And we're like, "Get the hell out of here!" So we all got the hell out of here. But that was an epic.
I used to get into a lot of street fights when I was younger. Last fight I got into was like 5 years ago. I actually got in a fight in my tattoo shop. This dude I tattooed came in and started mouthing off to me, and we got into it. And he had a big pea coat on. Well, the thing is, I tattooed him, and he was this like gangster dude from Oakland. I tattooed him. He came in, wanted to get it finished. I'd make an appointment. He wouldn't show up. And one day he's like, "When are you gonna finish my tattoo? What's up?" And I was like, "Dude, I'm over you. Go to another shop to get it finished." And he's like, "What? I'll whoop your ass, white boy." And I'm like, all right. So I was wearing glasses at the time, take my glasses off, walk down the little steps, and he's probably expecting this little skinny white boy, he's gonna whip his ass. The guy was wearing a big pea coat. It was in the wintertime, and I was like, sweet, this is like a gi top. I just grabbed both his sleeves, threw him against the wall, grabbed both his sleeves, and just like pulled him into the hardest headbutt of my life. Headbutted him, grabbed him, like tie clinch, started kneeing him in the stomach, and then he like shot on me like he was a wrestler, and I foot swept him, mounted him, and just started pounding on him in the shop. My buddy jumped on me and broke it up and whatever. But that was the last fight I got into.
Yes. No comment. Well, I'll say this, like, you know, because of what I've learned in jiu-jitsu, and because, like, really the style of Ralph Gracie jiu-jitsu, where it's very fundamentally rooted in the self-defense aspects as opposed to the sport aspects at first. You care very much about the sport aspect, but the self-defense aspect, the ability to handle yourself in a confrontation, was extremely important. I don't like to glorify, like, you know, I don't think street fighting should be anything worth glorifying, or like, I don't like to talk about that type of stuff. Other than to say, like, you know, through what I've known and through what I've seen, I do have confidence in my jiu-jitsu ability, or my ability to handle myself in a confrontation like that.
So I used to live in Fremont, and we went out wherever you can go out in Fremont. I was with my brother and two other friends, so it was four of us. And we'd go to the Denny's on, I think it's Maori, I don't know. We'd go to the Denny's afterwards, like everybody else does, how it's packed in there with people who went to the club and came. Anyway.
How old are you guys at this time?
I was like, 22?
Okay.
Maybe a purple belt at the time, something like that. And these guys were harassing these group of girls. And it was pretty bad. And it was like right in the waiting area, waiting to get your table. Mm-hmm. And they were like pushing them around. I think it was like they had dissed him at the club or whatever the situation was, and then they followed them to Denny's, and it was pretty bad. It was right in front of Denny's. And I was looking, I'm like, nobody was doing anything. My brother went right up there. I was like, hey, you need to leave these girls alone. And it was total like in the right. Like, we need to step in. No one else is. Everyone's like eating their food.
So like late night drunk lunch.
Yep, exactly. Okay. And my brother and the guy yelled back and F you, no, F you, you know, that kind of thing. So the guy took a swing at my brother, and then it was on. It was like 4-on-4 or something. And it was chaotic, but like it was weird. We kind of all squared up. Actually, they went after my brother, and then I grabbed one. He squared up with me. And I remember I had just started boxing actually at AKA. I didn't know the guys at AKA, but at the old AKA. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to start striking with this guy. So I just let my hands go. And so the guy shot in at me, and I jumped and took his back. I was an athletic jiu-jitsu guy, so I jumped and took his back. He rolled down, so I had his back, and I had wrist control. So he was like this. And, you know, I just started elbowing his head, and I just went after it. I mean, it was like, this is a real fight. You just kind of, there's no thought process behind it. Yeah. And then I ripped his arm, and it was chaos. But it ended up, the cops came. My brother, we took care of business. I mean, we beat them up pretty good. It was just not a fair fight, but neither was 3 guys against 2 girls. You know what I mean? Yeah, definitely. So they were all bloody, and the cops came and actually pulled them over because they fled. First they said, we're going to go get a gun. So we ran into the bathroom thinking, hurry up, get the cops here. But then we realized we cornered ourselves. Anyway, long story short, you're not thinking, you're just reacting. And they caught them. We actually had to go to the hospital at the same time they went because our guy got bit. One of our guys got bit. You know, when you start losing a fight and you have no training, you just resort to caveman tactics. So our guy was getting treated for that, and then we see them, and the cop was in the middle of us, you know, just to make sure everything's okay. And they were beat up pretty good. But, you know, I don't know. I always have another kind of a philosophy behind it. Self-defense is for self-defense. Like, when you learn self-defense, you're supposed to use it in appropriate situations. Yeah. And I think, like, we did exactly what we were supposed to do and ended up okay. And I have no issues with beating somebody up who, you know, is taking their frustrations at not achieving in their life on somebody else. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Did the girls thank you or anything?
Yeah. They were like, it was crazy. Like, oh, you're our heroes. Or it was a little bit nuts, nice. But yeah, it was good. It was good times. Cool training. Let me continue with that though.
Oh, okay.
You can go your whole life and avoid situations like that, and I'm very big on that. I tell my students all the time, fighting stops it. Fighting is a preemptive thing like anything else. So I always say, like, what's the best escape for a triangle? It's not getting caught in one. So I have some students that one time told me, oh, I got in this fight, and then I got ganged up, and anyway, I beat this guy, whatever. And I'm like, okay, where were you? Oh, I was at this house party. And then he was excited. I'm like, why are you at the house party? And you could see, like, he never thought of why. It's like, well, it's fun. I'm like, well, if there's fights there, what are you doing there? And then I talked to a lot of cops, and if you really look at, like, I think cops do this a lot. They outline certain areas of cities, and then they categorize violent crimes and the ratio for that violent crime in that certain area, and it's higher for this certain violent crime in this area than it is in this area. So if you really look at life that way, avoid those areas. Don't go to the house parties. Don't get in fights. Don't look at somebody at a bar. If there's too many people at a bar bumping in you and saying, what's up, then leave the bar. It's very simple to avoid fights.
But your situation, you guys are doing the right thing. I mean, it would have been the wrong thing to
I agree. I don't think there was any other way to handle that situation at all. We did the right thing. My brother stepped up to the plate right away. And there's nobody, that's another thing, nobody was doing anything.
Yeah.
And when you don't train in martial arts, it's almost like at times when you walk out, you're going to a gunfight with a knife.
Yeah.
It's like you're unequipped, you're not equipped with the proper confidence, with the proper know-how to handle yourself. And that's my big thing. I'm always trying to preach, why we do martial arts, and that's exactly why.